Demon coach Mike McConathy preparing for the start of the season on November 14th at Texas A&M. An exciting season for the Demons. The Demons just picked second today in the preseason poll of coaches, and sports information directors also agreed with that. In the conference race, 13 teams in the league. Coach, talk about being picked to contend for the championship yet again.
Well, it's a real honor, but when you think about the fact that you have so many talented teams in our league, it really says a lot for our program. With Sam Houston and Corpus Christi winning over 20 games last year, with a lot of great players returning. Of course, Stephen F. Austin was picked first. It's really nice to be there, along with Incarnate Word, who has an excellent team as well. So we're excited about where we're sitting, but the problem is that doesn't mean anything when you start conference play.
And then in the Southland Conference, there are so many teams that can jump up into contention, two of which are coached by guys you had on your staff here at Northwestern. McNeese is going to be very good this year. UNO, in its first year in the league last year with Mark Schlesinger, proved that it can compete with anybody. And so talk about those teams that may not be up in the polls, but will certainly be in the thick of the race.
Well, anytime you play in the polls, they're important, but the reality is every night that you go out, this is one of the best leagues for coaches that I know of that gets no credit at all for the coaching that goes on. Dave Simmons, Mark Schlesinger, J.P. Piper, new coach Jay Ladner wins the national championship in NJCA at Jones Junior College. Just unbelievable coaches in this league, along with the other guys in here, but of the teams that I mentioned earlier. But just remarkable talent. Dave Simmons is always going to be competitive every night he goes out with his McNeese Cowboys, and then Mark Schlesinger did a remarkable job in the first year last year coming in the league, and he'll continue to do well. I know that he'll have a young team, but I know he'll have them prepared, and I know that it'll be really tough when we play them those two times.
You've been in this league. This will be your 16th season. Your knowledge of this league is unsurpassed. Talk about what the Southland Conference brand of basketball is.
You know, when you think about the brand, a lot of guys doing different things, so you've got different styles of play every night. That's one of the things that I've noticed. Kids that play hard, athletes, 6'3" to 6'6" athletes that just can flat play basketball. In fact, sometimes you can find yourself almost being too large to guard because of small guys. To take a guy like Zeke Woodley that plays for us, an undersized guy that plays in the hole, remarkable player. And so you see a different style of basketball on any given night, and a different philosophy is being used by so many different coaches.
All right, I'm going to ask the question that Patrick Netherton, our radio announcer, would want me to ask about Zeke Woodley. He's listed as a 6'2" guard. Is Zeke Woodley a guard?
In our offense, technically, he comes up and catches the trigger shot, which makes him a guard, but he ends up being in the hole posting, so no, he's not actually a guard.
But he should be listed as
I would say he's a post.
All right. Well, you've made Patrick Netherton very happy and confused a lot of folks who would look at a post player as not being 6 foot 2 inches tall. One
of our best players here at Northwestern is a guy named Pete Gray. Years ago was a 6'2", 6'3" post man. And Vernon Wilson played inside. I mean, one of the top 3 players to ever play at Northwestern. So you can't get hung up in size. You got to get hung up in production. And that's what we're about. You put a guy that's productive where he's productive, and you play him in that role. And that's why Zeke was so good last year.
All right, let's turn to not only this year's team, but this program. Yesterday, the NCAA's graduation success rate came out. Northwestern basketball had a 98% GSR. That was best in the Southland Conference. That was best by any public institution in Louisiana. That's the latest in a long series of academic high-water achievements for Northwestern basketball under your leadership. Just last spring, again received public recognition from the NCAA for being in the top 10% nationally in the academic progress rate study. What is the core philosophy and approach that makes Northwestern basketball so successful academically with its student athletes?
Well, I think it's the whole mindset of our program led by Greg Burke, who's our athletic director, that wants kids to build on a foundation, and the foundation one is education, academics, And then I think it goes a step further from our staff's perspective of trying to recruit student athletes that understand getting a degree is important. Yesterday, I talked to Richard Taylor, one of the players of my first year here. He's trying to finish his degree. We have stayed in contact with him. We're so excited that he's trying to make that happen. Because if we don't get the degree, we didn't use the game. And Jeff Moore, Bill Lewitt on the staff, Nick Long, all work closely with our players trying to guide them in the right directions. Of course, our academic center, Kerry Kroll and Keely Grimes, do a remarkable job, and we appreciate them very much for all they do. But at the end of the day, the student athlete has to have a commitment to get an education, and then as a coaching staff, we have to be committed to make sure that they get headed in the right direction and do the little things that make a difference.
Okay, let's shift to what goes on the court behind us, basketball. What is it going to take for the Demons to have the season that obviously the pollsters expect of them this year to be in contention for the championship? What are the assets that you bring to the table? Where does this team have to improve?
You know, we've got to be better defensively, and you say that, and our numbers defensively were horrendous a year ago, but we found a way to win games the last 15 ball games, winning 12 out of 15. So defense and rebounding are going to be paramount for us. But then this group may shoot the ball as well as any group that we've had. And, Hubie Brown, I think, said that shooting the basketball well covers up for a multitude of sins. Well, we need to shoot it well. And yesterday morning, for instance, we were here practicing. We had some scouts in here watching us practice, and one of them remarked, he said, "Coach, y'all just really shoot the ball well." Well, that really made me feel good that they shot it well in front of somebody else and just not in front of me. Because if you do shoot the ball well, it gives you a little bit of break to where you can get a bucket from somebody besides Jalen or Zeke. Marvin Frazier really can shoot the ball. Matt Killian shooting it well. Sabree Thompson shooting it well. So Tajon Welcome shooting it well. So we've got some guys that can score the basketball, and so that's going to be important for us to shoot it well, run the floor, try to keep pressure on defensively, whether it's full court man-to-man or if it's zone pressure up the floor to slow them down. Just whatever we need to do, we got to make those adjustments. But it will be a challenge because our size on paper looks good, but will our size on the floor actually be big? Because we don't want to be too big, but then we want to be productive big. And so that'll be a real challenge for us.
The last question, historically, you've had a lot of experience, and you do have some very talented, experienced players, but you have more newcomers who are going to be expected to play a significant role immediately this year than probably at any point in the recent past. Talk about how you infuse those immediately and who some of those newcomers are going to play a big role.
It's going to be a real challenge having 6 newcomers coming in, and you got 7 letter winners coming back, and we lost some due to graduation, and we had a couple of guys that were in our program that decided to transfer to another school that were part of our team. And the Adams twins were really big, strong guys. But I think what you've got to do is you take the core group of the 7 returners and you gradually infuse those other guys and allow them to make a contribution when they're ready to make a contribution. Now, when you rotate 5 and 5, that means they better be ready pretty quick. But it may be that early in the season that we possibly may have to tweak our system a little bit until we can get those other guys ready. But I really feel like that the mix of our talent, because it gives us different looks and some different blends. But guys that can really shoot it. Matt Labata can really shoot the basketball. A young man that will be playing the first year for us.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.